In 1945, this was the face of absolute power, a single weapon that could end a world war and hold the entire globe in a state of terrified awe. The atomic bomb wasn't just a new gadget, it was a sledgehammer that completely smashed the old rules of conflict. Fast forward 80 years, and the ultimate weapon isn't a single sledgehammer, but a swarm of intelligent scalpels. It's not about the size of the explosion anymore, but the speed of the decision. So how did America's military leap from the industrial might of the atomic age to the algorithmic warfare of today? This is the story of a revolution, a shift from brute force to intelligent force. At the end of World War II, the United States was the only nuclear power, and its military strategy was as simple as it was terrifying: massive retaliation. Any major move by the Soviet Union would be met with an all-out nuclear apocalypse. For the first time, the military became the main engine for technological breakthroughs, flipping the script on how wars were prepared for. But that atomic monopoly was never going to last. By the 1960s, the Soviets had their own arsenal, and the world stumbled into a terrifying new stalemate: mutually assured destruction. You've probably heard of it by its acronym, MAD. It was like two gunslingers in a standoff, but if either one flinched, the entire town would be wiped off the map. The entire planet held its breath, knowing that one wrong move could trigger the end of civilization. For the average soldier, power wasn't measured in manpower anymore, it was measured in megatons. The goal wasn't just to win a war, but to stop one from ever starting, using the threat of unthinkable horror. But while the world was fixated on those mushroom clouds, a much quieter revolution was already underway. The military started to pivot from dumb bombs to smart ones. This shift was really built on a few key technologies that would define the next 50 years: missiles, computing, stealth, and most importantly, precision weapons. We got the first real glimpse of this new era over the skies of Vietnam. After countless failed bombing runs, the US finally destroyed the heavily defended Thang Hoa Bridge in 1972. The difference? New laser-guided weapons. For the first time, accuracy was beginning to rival raw power. Instead of carpet bombing an entire neighborhood just to hit one house, you could now send a single weapon through the front door. This drive for precision and better information led to another world-changing innovation: the internet. What we use every day started as ARPANET, a Defense Department project to create a communication network that could survive a nuclear attack. It was designed like a spider web. If you cut one strand, messages could still find a different path to get through. The focus was shifting. It was no longer just about overwhelming the enemy with force, but outsmarting them with data. Today, that digital foundation has given birth to a totally new kind of battlefield, one defined by algorithms, autonomy, and artificial intelligence. The revolution isn't silent anymore, it's autonomous, and it really stands on three pillars. First, AI and drone swarms. The soldier of tomorrow might not be a person, but a network. The Pentagon's Replicator initiative, for example, aims to roll out thousands of small, low-cost autonomous drones across the air, land, and sea. Think of it less like a single giant dragon and more like a massive swarm of intelligent hornets that can overwhelm an enemy. A single human operator can command an entire swarm, making decisions at machine speed while keeping soldiers out of the line of fire. Second, next-generation stealth and networked war. Stealth is no longer just about being invisible to radar. The new B-21 Raider, the world's first sixth-generation aircraft, is basically a flying data center. Its open architecture design means it can get rapid software and weapons upgrades to stay ahead of future threats, but its real power is that it's the team's quarterback in the sky. Under a new doctrine called JADAC-2, Joint All-Domain Command and Control, every sensor is plugged into every shooter. From satellites to ground troops to the B-21 itself, they all form a single unified web, like the military's own nervous system where data becomes its own weapon, allowing forces to act faster than any opponent. Third, cyber and space as battlegrounds. The front lines are no longer just on land or at sea, they're in cyberspace and in orbit. A conflict can now begin long before a single shot is ever fired. It's like a boxing match where you can now disable the stadium lights or jam your opponent's communications before the first punch is even thrown. The US Cyber Command is actively building out its offensive and defensive tools, treating the digital world as a critical war theater. From a single city-destroying bomb to swarms of intelligent drones, the American military has morphed from a force of industrial mass to one defined by informational speed. The challenge today isn't just about building bigger weapons, it's about creating smarter, faster, and more interconnected systems. This revolution is happening right now, and the battlefield of tomorrow is being programmed today.